Good morning and welcome to Daily Devotions with Pastor Joe. I'm Pastor Joe, and for this morning we're getting back into the book of Esther, chapter 5, verses 1 through 8, where we just last week had heard about how Haman had written the law to have all of the Jews killed on a certain day of a certain month, how Mordecai came mourning before the king's gate, how Esther had said that she hadn't been wanted by the king for 30 days now, and that if she went in, he could kill her for her coming in when he didn't want to see her, and how Mordecai, Esther, all of the Jews in Shushan, and all of her handmaids were going to be fasting for 3 days and for 3 nights. So, Esther 5, 1 through 8 says, "Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house, and the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden sceptre that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the sceptre. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be given thee. It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom, and it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. So, this is Esther's plan. She has been spending the last 3 days and 3 nights not eating, but instead fasting and praying, and thinking about what should I do to get Haman stopped from being able to do what he's planned to do. And so she goes into the king. And that right there, the fact that she got up, put her clothes on, went to the king's house, and went to the inner courts, that is amazing faith. That is stepping out in absolute faith from Esther here, because it literally could be life and death. It literally at that moment could be an absolute life and death situation that her going out there could result in her death. So when the king saw Esther, he found favor. He suddenly realized, oh, that's my wife I haven't seen in 33 days now. I miss her. And so he held out his golden scepter, and he had her come to him, and he was so in love with her at that moment. He said, Oh, Esther, I'll give you anything you ask. What do you need? What has made you come here to visit me? What do you need from me? And Esther, in a very, what may seem to be a sneaky way, says, Oh, king, I want you to come to dinner with me and bring Haman, your number one guy. And the king says, Oh, Haman, hurry up, get over here because we're going to dinner at Esther's house. I'm so excited. And so they come to dinner at Esther's house. And at one point during the meal, it says at the banquet of the wine, so at one of the courses of the meal, he says, Oh, Esther, please, I know this isn't what you really want. What do you want from me? Even to the half of my kingdom, it'll be performed. And I suppose she could have ultimately said, well, give me half your kingdom and move all the Jews there because they would have been safe, right? But she didn't, and she's going to do something much wiser than that here. They are going to work a much wiser plan out here because it's the Lord's plan. It's not their plan that's going to be set up and be fruitful. And then she says, okay, my petition, my request, and she's perhaps a little bit nervous and not sure that she's really got enough of his favor here through this, and she's not really ready to sell Haman out and to tell the king what Haman has done. So she says, if I found favor in your sight, and if you're pleased to grant my petition, if you really want to answer my need, then prove it. Come to another banquet. Come to another dinner. We'll prepare another dinner tomorrow, and then I'll tell you what I really want. And so they go through this thing, and it's a bit playful, it's a bit fun. Esther's trying to really reel the king in and butter him up and make him happy, because she wants him to be happy when she tells him this, happy with her when she tells him what's going on, because she doesn't want to take the king's wrath. She doesn't want him to be angry. She wants to make sure he's happy and excited to have her talking to him. And so this ends up leading Haman to believe that he's something special, and that Esther really likes him and cares for him, and that maybe he'll be promoted even higher in the kingdom, right? This leads the king to just lovingly think about her and to dwell on her in his mind. This leads a lot of things to happen over the next couple of days. And it's pretty exciting when you think about the story of Esther. But do you have the faith that Esther did, that says, even if it means my death, I'm going to do what God has said to do, because I know that God wants it to be done, and that he's promised to be with me? If God has told you that he wants you to do something, then he promises to take care of you. It may mean your death, but that is better ultimately, because it's heaven eternal. But even if it means your death, are you willing to follow God and to do what God has asked you to do, where God has asked you to do it? I hope so. I hope today finds you faithful in the Lord, and I hope to see you again with another daily devotion with Pastor Joe tomorrow. God bless, and have a wonderful day in the Lord. Make sure to stay strong and of a good courage as you go through your day today.